This particular artifact is called the Sacred Owl by Manassi Akpaliakpik. It was made at about the year 2000 of whalebone, white stone, and black African stone. It is a promised gift of Raymond Brosseau to the National Museum of Fine Arts of Quebec. The inventory number for this item is DPD.2016.31. The owl is without question the animal that lies at the heart of Inuit spirituality. Its acknowledged wisdom and the role it plays in accompanying the spirits of the dead to the afterworld fascinate Manassi, and he has made many owl images throughout his career. The works presented here are some of the most spectacular of his entire oeuvre. What I like about this particular piece is that it is an artifact that has several different facets to it. So there's different faces to it. So it's not like a typical statue often that we see in a museum where there's just one face and the back of it is just a plain rock or something. There's different sides to it that you can see. Each side is its own face. So it's almost like you're seeing two or three statues in one, and that it's detailed enough that you can tell that yes, it's an owl, it's this, it's that. And throughout the pieces in this particular exhibit that was done by a particular uh, Inuit artist, that that's the basic core theme that you're seeing throughout all of his pieces, right? You're getting enough detail where you know what the animal is, you know what's going on, you know what's trying to be expressed or shown, but there's not so much detail that you don't know what to look at, you don't know exactly where to start, right? You can tell that this part of the statue is clearly an owl, but it's a basic generic owl, right? You don't know the exact species. Is it a snowy owl? Is it a barn owl? Is it this kind of owl, that kind of owl, right? For those of you who might be experts or more knowledgeable on owls or birds in general, you might have a general idea. Okay, it can be out of the X amount of owl species, it can be one of so many. Perhaps there's enough detail for that, but not to the point where okay, it's exactly this species, it's a boy, it's a girl, etc., right? We see that it's a bird, we see that it's an owl, and really for this particular piece, that's all you really need to know, is that yes, they are trying to symbolize the owl and sort of the imagery that comes with it. And as was mentioned earlier in the video, how for the Inuit, an owl is seen as not only as what we often think of owls are as these symbols of wisdom, but also for the Inuit in particular, or at least a certain percentage of Inuit, as the helpers of souls to go from the living world to the deceased world. Now, I did do a very superficial um reading of a couple different articles to get at least a better sense of what the afterworld for Inuits looked like, what it sounded like, what it means to pass away and go to the afterlife. I didn't get a whole lot of detail. There's not a lot that I could see and read and really get a sense of what that religious belief is. One article, and for example, read was talking about there being two different worlds in the afterlife. I don't think it's the same kind of ideology that you would see in the Christian world where you have a heaven and hell. So, yes, you have that same sense of two different worlds. But in obviously for Christians and many other religions as well, the two worlds, one is purely evil, one is purely good, one is where we reward those who've lived a good life, while the other world is where the evil, the bad people are punished. I didn't get the sense from this article that that's what this dual afterlife was for the Inuit, but I could be wrong. I'm certainly not a religious expert when it comes to Inuit religious beliefs. So I'll leave it to those who are experts on the matter to speak on it, or if there's somebody that is Inuit themselves who still practices the traditional religious beliefs. If you want to come up and speak about it and say, hey, this is what our community talks about. There's different interpretations depending on what Inuit tribe or community you're part of. I'm more than welcome any kind of correction or additions to um, my video here. I admit that again, I've very little knowledge on Inuit culture and religious beliefs, so I don't know everything. I admit that my knowledge on the matter is very little. Um, but I do find that it is an interesting topic, and I do find it's a shame that there's not more on the topic online, and that it's really that kind of community. I guess because they're so isolated that it's very difficult, to go and really find out more. Especially it's a kind of community. You're talking about a community that's living up north, where right now in the middle of February it's probably -30, -40 Celsius. So about the same in Fahrenheit as well. So I don't know a lot of people that are rushing to go into that weather to sort of have a conversation, which is a shame. So, this is an interesting community, and I think they don't get the deserved attention that they should. There's a lot of communities that get a lot of attention, just as deserved. But I think the Inuits should be more explored and have a bigger say in how their history and their beliefs are preserved. So I hope that there is going to be more of the exploration. And again, if somebody is Inuit themselves and wants to talk about their community themselves, their individual experience, feel free to leave me a comment, tag me in your video. Like I said, I'm more than welcome to have a conversation on the topic. I admit my ignorance on this and that I have a lot to learn when it comes to the Inuit culture. So I hope that you guys like this video. As usual, please comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz.